Hello and welcome back to another Router Gods video. My name's Humphrey. We're going to continue on our job and career advice series and talk about the dangers and what you can do when you go on autopilot. Well, what do I mean by going on autopilot? Going on autopilot means that you've been working at your job for a little bit, whether it's 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, and you come to a day when you had it easy. Basically, you didn't have to think that day. You answered all the emails, you got all your tasks done, but you pretty much used 0% of your brain power. It was so easy that you went on autopilot. So we'll talk about, at what stage do you get to go on autopilot, or what stage that you'll probably see that. We'll talk about the two main dangers of being in autopilot. And the two main dangers are, your company's going to see that. Your company's going to see that, hey, Humphrey is just kind of sitting there on autopilot. He's not really thinking. Maybe if he's on autopilot, maybe he's not that valuable, or maybe the job's too easy. So that's one of the dangers. The other main danger is, probably more importantly, is your personal growth. If you're on autopilot, you're not learning anything, and we'll talk about that. And then finally, we'll end with the countermeasures, what you can do when you recognize that you're in this situation. The stages of the job. When you first start your job, you're in your honeymoon phase. Everything's new, everything's awesome, right? The projects are great, you're learning the culture, you're getting to know the people. So that's a great phase to be in. The next phase is you're being given more responsibility, you're given more projects. Maybe they're bumping you up a grade level or two, and they're just handing you more work, and it's cool. You're learning, everything's great. Now it's going to come time when, and this is going to be different for everyone, whether it's 6 months down the line, a year or 2 years. There's going to be a time where you're sitting at your desk, or now because of COVID, you're sitting at home doing your work. And you end the day, let's say you end the day at 4 or 5 or 6 or whatever it is, and you look back on the day and said, well, that day was super easy. I basically shut my brain off and I got everything done. I still got everything done. And that is a dangerous, dangerous place to be. And the reason for that is your personal growth. When you have a day where you do nothing and you learned nothing, that day can stretch into a week very easily. I mean, you blink and the week has gone by and you go, wow, like this whole week I've learned 0. And then it can stretch out into a year and a decade. And time flies very, very quickly. So you blink and now it's 3 years later and you haven't learned or grown in your career, either in grade level, either in responsibilities, personal knowledge. You haven't learned a new programming language. You haven't learned any new skills. And we've actually seen this in our Router Gods group. And so routergods.com, the group that I run, the world's largest networking IT group, meetup group in the world. And we've helped tons and tons of people. I've lost track, but several dozen people get better jobs and get their first IT job for free. Like there's no charge for any of that. So we've seen our members, some members, they've been in tech support. Been in tech support for 10 years. And they've been on autopilot for the last 8. We asked these folks, have you learned any new languages? Have you taken up any responsibility? Have you done anything after you've recognized that you're in this state? And no, life was good. I was making my $50,000, $60,000 a year. I'm married with kids, and now it's 10 years later, and they thought everything was cool. But then what happened was the company purchased a AI bot to help do the level 1 tech support. I mean, it's pretty crazy technology. It answers the phone. It sounds pretty much almost like a human, and it answers the most common questions, and it put a lot of those people out of work. Recognize that you're in autopilot, and as soon as you recognize that, there are countermeasures that we can take to alleviate the situation. Okay, so personal growth out of the way. You're an autopilot, dangerous place to be, and then it can last several years and you're basically stagnate in your job. Now, from a company perspective, your bosses they're not dumb. Well, some of them are, but bosses and managers eventually will recognize that, hey, Humphrey's just kind of sitting there and we're giving him tasks and he's just getting them done, and that's cool, but he's not really learning anything. They will see this. And so eventually if they see that you've been doing this for too long and you're just kind of zoned out, you're in zombie mode, and maybe some of your colleagues are in zombie mode too, they're going to be looking at ways of making things more efficient from a company perspective, whether that's consolidating teams, eliminating positions, automating things, buying AI bot programs. And trust me, those programs are getting very good. In fact, just this week, it was announced that this company is Synthesia. I'm probably saying it wrong, but they have this AI program that you type in sentences and it will make a very realistic looking talking head video. It looks like kind of a news reporter talking, or kind of a tutorial, a tech tutorial, but that person does not exist. It's that video of a person is completely AI created. The speech is AI created. So that is taking a job of your typical corporate marketing person that would be making those tutorial videos, or people like me making this YouTube video. Eventually that day will come where I'm going to probably be replaced by a bot. So the dangers for companies are always looking to maintain costs, reduce costs, replace people, automate, increase productivity. So just wow. Sorry about that. The great thing about being in Singapore is I can order food delivery. This is from Food Panda. The problem is they come at the most inopportune time, always when I'm making a video or on a WebEx. Okay, the countermeasures. You recognize this. So that's probably the most important thing, is that you can recognize that, hey, I'm in this mode. And a lot of people can't recognize it. They basically are in denial. So once you recognize it, what can you do? As soon as you see this, man, you got to be looking at increasing your skill set, learning a programming language, picking up Python, picking up scripting, AWS, cloud, something different, picking up a foreign language, whether it's Thai, Vietnamese, Chinese. Chinese is kind of a good one to learn right now, Japanese. Those are great. Doing things like networking, meeting people, going out more. That's going to be an extremely important part. Another thing that you can do is start polishing up your resume. Start talking to people about going into a different position or getting a promotion, or looking at other places you can go. All right, so that was a quick video about going on autopilot, how to recognize it, the dangers, both from a company perspective and your own personal growth, which your personal growth is probably the most important, and then the countermeasures that you can take when you are in this mode. Once again, if you like this video, if it's been helpful, please leave some comments, hit the like button, thumbs up, subscribe, and as always, stay safe, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.